Blocks Therapy for Kids. We're an occupational therapy clinic. Today I'm going to be showing you some activities that you could do at home. We're going to be doing fine motor warm-up activities. These are activities that incorporate many skills like bilateral integration, which is essentially using both hands to do anything. It's going to incorporate visual attention, so it's definitely going to have kiddos attend an activity for a certain period of time, and it's going to help on their visual motor skills, so they're going to be using their eyes and hands at the same time to work on different things. So today we're going to be lacing. So lacing is one activity that I really like incorporating in the beginning of our sessions. It's a really good way to start our warm-up. What's a good warm-up? So lacing, as you can tell, is essentially, it does incorporate bilateral integration because you do have to hold one item with one hand and then you hold the thread or shoelace on the other hand. So essentially you go in through the hole and out, or some kiddos go in through the back and out the front. This was a previously made one that I got at the clinic. Today we're going to be making our own. So these are going to be the things that we're going to be using. We're going to need a hole puncher. We're going to be needing a marker, scissors, cardboard paper, and some thread. You can also use a shoelace as well. I made my own thread. So an alternative to a shoelace is you could get creative and you can make your own aglet. I used the little wire that you get when you buy like a pack of tortillas or tostadas or anything like that. You could get the little wire and just twist it and form it into a little stick. You could tie a little thread to it, and then now you have an easier way to do the threading. So I have my brother here. He's going to be helping us demonstrate this activity. Preferably, it'd be nice if you worked at a table where it's, like a little higher. It's important to have your feet flat on the floor and your back as straight as possible. So today, we're going to be making shapes. So I'm going to have them draw two shapes here and one shape here. So you could draw like a triangle and a square on this one. So go ahead and draw a triangle. Okay, and then here you can draw either a square or a rectangle. They don't have to be this big. Actually, that's fine. That's a good size. Okay, perfect. So now let's go ahead and cut out our shapes. And an alternative to sitting down, I provided him with a chair without any back support to purposely work on his core so that he's not leaning back. You could have him sit on a yoga ball or on anything without a backrest just to engage that core while they're working. So now that we cut out our shape, I'm going to have him, again, use bilateral integration. He's going to be holding one shape in one hand and the hole puncher in the other. And he's just going to go all the way around and make holes. They don't have to be that straight, but you can make holes all around the shape. Okay. And this also works on hand strengthening because, as you may know, squeezing a hole puncher is a little difficult.
It is.
And it works under coordination as well. It's really good. It's better than mine. good. You can start on this side so it doesn't rip. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the triangle while he makes the holes. Okay, and then go ahead and punch out holes on the sides as well. It's a little hard, huh? It's hard, like to squeeze?
Yeah, pretty hard.
Yeah, so this activity can be a little hard. You can make this activity easier or harder based on where your kiddo is at. I use cardboard, which is a little bit more advanced.
Actually, I'm on poster board.
A regular piece of paper, since it's a little thinner and it'll be easier to punch out. If this activity is too easy for your kiddo, you can make it even harder and use a piece of like cardboard. Okay, so now he has all his holes cut. Now we can use our little self-made thread and then go ahead and start threading all across, all the way around the shape. And so this is how we're gonna make our own. Okay, so you can assist your kiddo in this part. You could just tie a knot around it. Okay, so now go ahead and keep lacing. And this may happen. See how he started out going around and then now he, you know, the thread may get stuck, things like that. It's not, you can fix it if you like, but the main point of this craft is so that they continue using both hands to warm up their fingers essentially, so that we can go ahead and do writing afterwards or typing or whatever activity, whatever the goal may be. But don't worry too much if a kiddo, like, you know, messes up or doesn't follow the pattern. The point is for them to just to warm up those fingers.
And to attend to the activity.
And I'm gonna go ahead and make holes on this shape. And that should be okay. I don't think you can go any further than that. But we have now made our very own homemade lacing kits. My name is Lilibeth Moran, and today I'm going to be demonstrating some activities that you guys could do at home that incorporate bilateral integration and crossing midline. So for this particular activity, all you're going to need is any little band, some tongs, and anything that you can easily manipulate with your hands. So what I'm going to have him do is I'm going to start with his, well actually the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lower this a little bit so that his feet are flat on the floor. There we we go. Now go ahead and scoot in. Okay, so go ahead and with your right hand, grab, let's see, and you could have them start with the easier ones and then move on to the more difficult ones as you get some practice. So go ahead and grab that green one and bring over here. Go ahead and grab the red, bring over. Go ahead and pick up the rest of them. And then as you see, I'm moving this around so that it's he's reaching across a little bit further each time and in different directions. And now these are the smaller ones, so go ahead and do that as well. Okay, great. And now I always like to use both hands. That way kiddos have the same control and strength on both hands. So this time we're gonna use the left hand to pick them up on the left side and put on the right. And he's cheating a little bit because he has a swivel chair, but typically, you know, he will be standing straight in the middle and placing the cross. Okay. So now we're gonna demonstrate how to do this activity with a little more difficulty. We're gonna grade it harder. The tongs that he's using now have a lot more resistance, and the grip is a lot smaller, so he's also going to need a lot more coordination skills. And we're also going to start with them on the opposite side. I'm going to have him put them back on the bin on this side. Okay, thank you. Okay, and now go ahead and use the left hand to reach across and get these. And I can put them back on this side. Okay, great, thank you. And I'm gonna demonstrate an even more difficult way to do this, which is using this little toy that you can find at any 99-cent store or anything like that. But this one requires even more coordination because these are not as, this is not as easy to manipulate as the tongs were. So go ahead and use your right hand to grasp these. Okay. Good job. Okay. Nice. Okay, so now go ahead and switch hands and reach across this way and put back on this side. So now he's using his non-dominant hand. Perfect. So I always like to incorporate any holidays that are coming up into our sessions. Given that Easter is coming up, you could get any little animal like this that's like a twist toy, and this also helps with their bilateral integration skills and strengthening skills. So go ahead and turn that. You can turn more. Go ahead and turn a lot more. Oh, you have to pick it up and then turn. Okay, go ahead and let it run. Okay, he's fast. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate another fine motor warm-up activity. For this test, you can either use Play-Doh or any kind of hard putty. I'm going to be showing you guys the easier way, and then how to do it with a little more increased difficulty. So all you need is, again, Play-Doh or putty, and anything you can hide inside. It could be beans, it could be little beads, small erasers, anything that you can easily hide inside of this. So I'm first going to hide a few of them inside. About 4. Okay, and then this is a good activity again for incorporating bilateral integration skills, and for crossing midline, and for strengthening, usually when you use the harder putty. Okay, so go ahead and find the beans. There's 4 in there. And it also works under pincers skills and visual motor skills. Okay, perfect. Okay, and this was not too hard, right? So this activity was obviously a lot easy, very easy for him. So in this case, I would want to do something a little bit with a little bit more resistance. Always go ahead and eyeball and see where your kiddo is at. So again, I'm gonna hide about 4 beans in here. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure they're really hidden in there. And then again, I'm just gonna give them structure to find the 4 beans that are hidden inside. Was that 4? All right, perfect. So for this next do it at home activity or DIY activity, we're gonna do our own clothespins match. And this is a good fine motor activity that I like to do just to warm up their fingers, and it's also really good for strengthening those fingers, especially for using the pincer grasp. So we're basically going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be showing you how to make your own at home. We're gonna basically use a piece of cardboard for this activity. We're gonna need some markers, and we're gonna need some just any clothespins. I've seen some that are already pre-colored. You could feel free to get those, but I'm just gonna show you how to make your own, like if you do have the ones that are just clear like that. So essentially what you would have to do is match the color to these. So go ahead and match the brown, and then they would have to match the purple, the green, and this is another activity that essentially, depending on your child's cognitive level, where they would either use 2 hands. This is a good activity where they could use 2 hands to do this. Or you can always just hold it for them while they put it on. Go ahead and match the blue. Yeah, and so forth. And so I have matched most of it. I use the paper plate. It's already kind of beat up. But I'm going to show you a better suggestion. I used a piece of cardboard. So I literally cut off a piece of a shoebox lid. And so right now we're going to color like all the sides of it using our markers, and then we're gonna color our clothespins, and then we're gonna do it like that. So this is what I made it look like. I already started one half of it, so I'm gonna have her finish the other half. You can make this activity easier by, you can also just like overall have your kiddo skip this part and you could just do the whole thing, depending again on where they are. Or you could kind of do what I did, you could have them finish the other half, and you could pre-color it, or you could have your child do the whole thing. You could just tell him, show him what he's gonna do, and then you could have him do it. So now I'm just gonna have Stephanie here finish coloring the rest of it. And then again, I always encourage your kiddos to have a good 90-degree angle, so have their feet flat on the floor so that they have a nice good posture. And I always like using markers because with markers, again, you have to use both hands to open them, and then again both hands to close, and sometimes it could be a little hard to open, so it also helps with strengthening. Yeah, you actually can't close it all the way. It could be really hard. And then it's also working on their visual motor skills. So now we're gonna get about, we're gonna get about 12 clothespins, and we're just gonna color them all. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and color all of the clothespins. This activity, again, it takes a little bit of skill because you do have to use both hands. Ideally, you would have to hold it with one hand and then use the other hand to color it. Again, this is also a part where your kiddo can either completely skip it, or maybe they could help you hold it while you color it, or maybe you could color it while they hold it. But it's always good to have for them to be involved in this activity. Okay, so now we're gonna color the rest of them. Okay.
We're gonna color 12 of these?
No, like 6. Put them, they're kind of wet, huh? So we could just put them here.
So 2 of each or what?
Just one. Yeah.
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple.
Remember that song? I can't find it anywhere.
I figured out to tell my mom. Is that what?
Yeah.
You use orange? You use brown?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not coloring the sides.
No, it's okay.
You gonna fast forward all this? So they won't even hear us.
Up to here. Okay, so now we basically colored all of our clothespins. We only did 6, but ideally we would want around 12. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay, so go ahead and match the yellow. Perfect. Go ahead and match the blue. Go ahead and continue matching them. And then this also could work on them practicing their colors. And I started asking her for them out of order. Oh, I forgot to put brown. Okay, but yeah, like I had her match them out of order, which, you know, it could be a little bit more difficult as opposed to following the pattern. So this would be our finalized product. So again, this is one activity that I like doing, incorporating in schools, because it helps them warm up their fingers, because they do have to like use their pincers to put it in. You can make this a little more challenging by having them use maybe like their middle fingers to put it in. You could have them use their ring finger to put it in, or maybe even their pinkies to put it in. So that's one way to make it more difficult. And then, as always, once you guys are all done, you can just have them take them off. So go ahead and take them all off. And if your kiddo needs extra help, of course, always, like I said, you can always hold it and position it correctly onto their fingers. So again, it goes on the pad of the index finger and of the thumb. And then now they should be able to squeeze. And if they do need assistance, go ahead and just guide them until they're able to put it on. Yeah, so go ahead and grab this one. And again, help them position it correctly. Go ahead and squeeze. Okay. And then you can help them put it on like that. Yes. So that completes this activity. So I put some colors underneath to provide them with more of a visual to see where they each go. So this time we can make it a little bit harder by this time incorporating all of the colors, and then have her pick out only the purples. So only the purples here. Okay. And then I could have her pick out only the greens. So go ahead and pick out only the greens. And then you could also tell her, okay, now only the yellows. Yeah, so go ahead and keep going. Just go ahead and then now you go ahead and match just any of them. And again, depending on their cognitive level, you could just lay it out in front of them, and then they could just match the 3 colors on their own, like that. Okay. Okay, and then again, you could have another cup where they could put all of the pink ones, all of the reds, and so on. So another way that we can make this a little bit more difficult, again, is by just putting everything together. You can remove the visuals. You can add even more colors. Just mix everything in. And this time we're going to be using tongs. So tongs do require a little bit more skill. Again, it's also warming up their pincers, their thumb and their index finger. And this way they're gonna be able to have to pick out the color. So I'm gonna be telling them that this is where all the greens are gonna be going, this is where all the yellows, and this is where all the purples are going to be going. So now go ahead and just match them all. So as you can see, it also requires some visual attention and attending, definitely. Okay, good job. And you can also just stop them halfway and have them practice using their non-dominant hand. and then that's perfect. She's not using this hand, but she still has it right here on her desk, so that's perfect. Okay, perfect. And these cups are a little bit small. You can always use any bigger red cups or foam cups or anything, any container that's a little bit wider, so that if you do have a little bit of problems with coordination, they're able to better aim at the inside of it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for watching.